Hello and welcome to Discovering Libertyville, unveiling the stories and people that make our town so unique. I am your host, David Wool, and I'm thrilled to bring you this new podcast that explores fascinating stories and experiences of local business owners and community leaders right here in a place that we call home. Jan Leisure, Diamond Residential Mortgage, has been financing Libertyville homes from the same office at 533 North Milwaukee Avenue since 1999. You may also know Jan as a former teacher, or as a college instructor, or as a journalist, contributing editor to Mortgage Broker Magazine, Mortgage Originator Magazine, or the money-saving super saver who walked into supermarkets with a fistful of coupons and walked out with $400 worth of groceries, and the stores paid her, or as your mortgage banker. Jan brings all of these skills to bring your transaction to the closing table on time. Jan has commitment, determination, integrity, and a positive attitude to make your home finance experience a great one. Jan Leisure, Diamond Residential Mortgage. My Charcuterie has the perfect boards, boxes, and grazing tables for any occasion. Get-togethers and parties of all sizes will be so much tastier when you bring their delicious charcuterie designs to the table. Their team uses only the very best ingredients to ensure creations that are always curated with the highest quality meats, cheeses, and produce. Imagine hosting a holiday celebration, corporate event, or dream wedding where everyone is blown away by the striking beauty and vibrant taste of the food. That's why they call it food artistry. For your next special event, visit My Charcuterie, located at 214 Peterson Road in Libertyville. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode. We're so happy that you guys have tuned in today. I am very fortunate to have, so Dr. Aras, now I'm going to screw up your list. I'm going to let you say it so I don't look bad today.
Well, I say Aras Tijunelis. You can say it however you want. I'll say Aras Tijunelis.
Aras Tijunelis.
Yes.
See, I know what I'm doing. So you are Lake County plastic surgeon.
Correct.
Okay. So your office right now, the way that I got in touch with you is are you based in Libertyville? Is that correct?
Yeah, been there since 2000.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay, so we had a nice talk because I was originally from Grays Lake, so we were talking about like after college and everything, you lived in Grays Lake for a while and then moved to Libertyville.
Right.
Okay. So getting you on here, one thing we love to do is we like to make sure and highlight people in our community that make a difference and cool things that people don't know about. And I love the stories of people. So I want you to just start and let's get a little bit of background, and then let's talk about what we do in Libertyville.
Sure. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me.
My pleasure.
I appreciate my office staff and Hannah for getting me connected with you.
Yeah. Nice job, Hannah, by the way.
Shout out. Yeah, my name is Aras Tijunelis. I'm a plastic surgeon here in Libertyville. Started my own practice back in the old days when people did their own practices and hung a shingle and just started a medical office and a medical practice. So going back further, I'm a Chicagoan all my life, essentially. Born in Buffalo Grove, but I always say raised on the south side of Chicago in a Lithuanian community. On the south side of Chicago, my parents were immigrants from Lithuania. So my sisters and I spoke fluent Lithuanian, and on weekends we'd spend our time down in Market Park in the south side. I went to Loyola undergrad on the North Shore, and then Loyola Medical School. From there, I went to Wayne State University in Detroit for general surgery.
Okay.
5 years of general surgery training. So even though you have your MD degree, you're still a resident. You're working those long hours in the hospital. 5 years of general surgery in Detroit. And then I transferred to University of Wisconsin-Madison, where I did plastic surgery training with hand surgery, microsurgery, craniofacial stuff. So that was another 2 years of training in Madison.
You're like a professional student.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's how medical training, surgical training goes. It's long residencies and yeah.
I hate to interrupt you. So when you start going to medical school and like you talk about general surgery, did you always want to do plastic surgery or were you just kind of find your way on what you wanted to do?
Yeah, great question. It's a common question and I'm sure my wife has heard this story many, many, many times on why I got into medicine, but for those like me, over 50 years old, we might remember the show MASH.
Of course.
And MASH is kind of what got me, I always say, hooked on being a surgeon. I always admired Alan Alda's character and B.J. Honeycutt and Trapper. I remember Trapper John, and those guys were fun-loving guys. They were fun guys. They were down to earth, but when it came push comes to shove, they were darn good doctors. So I really appreciated that, and that's what I wanted to be. And back when I did my training, then you had to do general surgery training first and be certified as a general surgeon, and then you went on to subspecialize into plastic surgery.
Okay.
So I did general surgery, but I admired, there was a family friend of ours who was a plastic surgeon. He was a very nice guy, a family guy, and I thought, wow, I kind of like his style, his vibe. He had a lot of time to dedicate to his family and stuff. So with that, I said, I want to do plastic surgery. And the other thing of plastic surgery that I found interesting and exciting was it branched out into broader areas of the body than just general surgery. General surgery felt like I was just doing gallbladders and appendix and hernias. Right. With plastic surgery, if there's a problem someone else can't fix, they call you in to patch it up and fix it up. So, I mean, I'm not saying I do open hearts, but if there's a complication that I can help with, I come in and help work some sort of magic. The word plastic or plastic surgery comes from the Latin or Greek root of to change. So plastic is moldable. So when you can change something,
interesting.
That nature had taken away something, and you can replace it with something, make it better. Then that's where I step in. Craniofacial trauma, huge things that really intrigued me. And then of course you can specialize down to cosmetic stuff.
Right. Right. It seems like that, and just from chatting with you a little bit, you just seem like a guy. If you were in the other general surgery thing, it could get boring. That you at least this, and you're serving people, and you're making people's lives better by what you do, which has got to be a really cool feeling.
That's the misconception of plastic surgery. I mean, everyone thinks of plastic surgery as Beverly Hills and 90210 and all cosmetic, but there's a whole different realm of it. That's the reconstructive, the trauma, breast cancer, reconstruction, hand surgery, hand replants, face replants. All that stuff is started by plastic surgeons.
Wow.
Just thinking creatively, thinking outside the box, trying to make a situation that's gone awry to make it better.
Wow. Yeah, and I'm sure that a lot of people from, television and everything, the way they make things look from plastic surgeons, but that's cosmetic, right?
That's the glory part of it. That's the Hollywood side of it, right? And which, again, that's where I've transitioned my practice to now, as I've grown in years and so on. The experience I gained from everything else now transitions into the delicate nature of the cosmetic surgery, where you're taking something that's already pretty good, God-given, and trying to make it better.
Wow. Okay, so I'm sorry, I totally interrupted you on the story-wise. So you finished college.
I did.
You did. I'm glad you did. After 714
and high school
years.
Too. And high school too.
Congratulations. I knew there was something good about you. So we get done in Madison. You get done in Madison, and then you come back. How long does it take do you work for somebody else? Do you start your own practice? How does that? I have no idea how that happens.
So my start in Libertyville was very fortuitous. It was amazing how things fell together. I had an uncle who is an ophthalmologist from Winnetka, and he had a little satellite office he barely used up by this little hospital called Condell.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Seen pictures.
He had an office that he barely used one day a week or a month or whatever, and he was paying rent for it. At the same time, I was finishing my plastic surgery fellowship. Looking for where I was going to go next. I was at a meeting in New Orleans, and I bumped into a chief resident of mine who had graduated years before me. And he said, "Hey, listen, Aras, there's a great opportunity in this little town called Libertyville." He goes, I work in Elk Grove. I have a practice in Elk Grove, but I schlep up to this hospital in Libertyville called Condell. And maybe you want to check that out, because he goes, that's too much for me to be driving up to Libertyville to be covering that, but you can certainly set up shop in Libertyville. At Christmas dinner, I'm talking to my uncle, who says, I got this little office I don't barely use on the campus of Libertyville. I said, wait a minute, this is the same Libertyville the other guy was telling me about. So things kind of pieced together. And then, having been born in Buffalo Grove, I always thought, okay, I'm 10 minutes from home. If I hang a shingle, start my practice in Libertyville, times are tough, slow, maybe I can go home and Mom will still feed me and do my laundry. So
I like the way you think.
It was really, things came together where Libertyville became. And then I looked at the map geographically. I thought, between Chicago, Milwaukee, and Rockford, Libertyville, and this county.
Yep. Smack in the middle, right?
Is gonna develop. It's gonna flourish. It has to. It's like the corridor between D.C., New York, and Boston. It's all gonna just eventually grow. Or if you think of Naperville, how Naperville has grown to the west. So, right. Yeah, Libertyville is ideal for me. Hung a shingle, meaning I just decided to rent my uncle's office for $500 a month. I had a cell phone and a laptop computer, and by myself. Patients would call to schedule an appointment, and I would be sitting on the back porch with my flip phone and a laptop. I'd schedule their appointment. I'd go into the office to see them, and after 6 months, I was busy enough where I had to start hiring, office staff and manager and so on. And
that's great.
So ground up, I knew the practice from the very beginning.
That's awesome. It's fun. We're, being 50s, when you look back at like how your life like comes together, like randomly you run into this guy that says Condell and Libertyville, and like how things come together. It's like, oh, this is kind of meant to be. Like,
right,
it all just happens. Right. So, and you've been in Libertyville ever since?
Ever since.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's great.
Except for that 1 year in Grays Lake.
Oh, yes.
My 1 year in the starter apartment in Grays Lake.
I think everybody needs that.
A starter apartment?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I know where you live, so I think most people I know have lived there. All right, so from that little office, then how do you transition from that?
A bit more history. Then I met my wife while working at the hospital. She was a nurse anesthetist. Nice. Doing anesthesia. I was doing some sort of late night surgery on a hand repair, and that's where we essentially met. 2005 we were married, and 2007 I took a business trip to Hawaii, a practice building sort of business trip. And I was sitting at a table with a bunch of older established surgeons, and they were saying like, hey, listen, you should build your own facility rather than renting space, renting a little office. Get your own building and put an operating room in it and make it your own surgical suite, so you kind of own your own destiny.
Wow.
And the idea was build it and they will come, right? Field of dreams.
Right.
So in 2007, we built on Winchester Road in Butterfield, or by the soccer complex, by the Libertyville soccer complex. There was a medical office complex going up, and I bought a condo unit there and built it out with an operating room, 4,000 square feet place.
Wow, cool.
Yeah. And from there, we hung in there
and ever
since then. Yeah, and
you built it. They came.
Well, okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of the nitty-gritty. 2007 was the peak of the bubble of the economy and the real estate economy. So 2008 was a rough year because the way I planned it, I was hoping, I need 2 more cosmetic cases a month, and I'm paying the bills here for this place, and not 2 less. So it was a slow year to get off the ground, but I was able to really... I hustled to the hospitals. I worked at the hospitals at Advocate Condell, at Lake Forest, at Highland Park, Vista East in Waukegan, and even Cancer Treatment Centers of America in Zion. And then even got a part-time gig at Aurora in Kenosha. Yeah. So I was hustling during those, and it was fine to do that because, I can do that if the office wasn't filling up on the schedule, I'm working somewhere else. Sure. It was fine.
Wow.
And then let me just say that after that 1 year, though, I said, okay, I can't do this running around either. I want to start narrowing it back down. And that was awesome because I came back to Lake Forest and Advocate Condell, and the docs were like, man, we've missed you. Where have you been? Because I said, well, because I've been around. I've just been out of sight, out of mind, running around everywhere.
Yeah.
But once I started, coming back to the hospitals, hanging out the lounges and talking to the docs, and just took off from there.
That's great. And if I do my math correctly, so during that time, you start having kids around then too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Around the 2000 what?
2006 and 2008 are my daughters.
Right.
Yeah. And
so you're a busy man.
A couple Ironmen in between there.
What?
2005 Ironman, 2007 Ironman.
Okay, I think you're nuts. The Ironman thing.
Ironman?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How do you, that is extraordinary, and I think it says a lot about human beings that they can actually do that. I think you're crazy, but...
Again, I'll credit my wife for this because she's always been a marathoner, a runner, and so on. But I've always enjoyed cycling. It's my thing. So I've been bicycling all my life since a little kid. From Buffalo Grove, I rode my bike to Wisconsin Dells with four classmates.
That's awesome.
Back in the day, it was just like basically Route 12 was the only road to go. My dad would meet us at certain towns every 30, 40 miles just to make sure we're still on track.
That's fantastic.
And so I've always been into cycling, but...
and your wife is a runner.
My wife's a runner, but my wife was also into the whole Ironman thing and getting into that community, which now I'm really deep in the community of cycling and Ironmanning and so on. Here, it's such a great, vibrant community. But the motto is you just keep moving forward. If you're moving forward, you're still in the race. I'm not going to be the winner. I'm not the pro. It's a personal goal, personal accomplishment. So when I did one, it's the personal goal. It's just, can I better my own time?
Competing with yourself, right?
Yeah. Can I? And also to prove other people wrong that said, I don't believe you did it.
I don't believe you did it. I just can't believe anybody can do it.
I think everything I've done in life, I've done twice, just to prove that I've done it. Polar bear plunge, 2 daughters.
Right.
It's not a fluke.
Oh my gosh, that's really fun. I like that. I'm not sure there's a lot of things I want to do again that I have accomplished.
Really?
But it's good. You can prove that it wasn't a mistake, right?
Sure.
All right, so I want to go back to your daughters too.
Sorry.
Because,
my daughters are great.
And cycling. So right now, at the time of this recording, you have a daughter that's swimming in college.
Yeah.
Which that is completely impressive.
So I have 2 stepchildren that are much older.
Okay.
One was a swimmer at Libertyville High School when we first moved here. He started swimming at a young age, but at Libertyville High School, his name, Alex Snarsky, is up on the board there for all the record holding. He swam for Northwestern.
Oh, wow.
He's now 29 years old.
Wow.
So he swam for Northwestern, but my daughter, who's 18, Sophia, followed suit, she's a great athlete. She's a great soccer player, volleyball player, and I coached her in little rec soccer here in Libertyville. And, I thought she was great, but she chose swimming.
Right.
And my other daughter, Victoria, chose soccer, and I ended up being the soccer dad, and Kim, my wife, is the swim mom. So,
gotcha.
You know how you got to differentiate those little responsibilities when they're all-day events kind of thing. Swimming, now Sophia, who's the one in Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh, was setting records at Libertyville High School also.
That's awesome.
Just blowing it away.
It's really cool, and anybody that's listening that's not a proud father of, I'm a sports guy, so I know there's other things to achieve obviously in life, but it is a very cool thing to watch your kids come on collegiately and do things.
Sure.
Especially if they can trade that with education too at the
same
time.
Sure.
It's a nice thing. All right, so the kids went to Libertyville High School. I want to know about cycling. Is there like a cycling club or anything in Libertyville?
Yeah, big, vibrant cycling community. So when I first moved here, I met up with the bike shop Lifestyle Cycles. Do you know where that is?
I do not off the top of my head.
Wait,
no, I do.
Lifestyle Cycle. I think it's singular.
Yes.
Across from Fodrex, used to be Fodrex, downtown Libertyville.
I know exactly.
The unique building with the circular.
Yes, they're near the railroad tracks.
No, that's Garner Cycling.
Okay. So
they're further down south. There used to be 4 cycle shops in Libertyville.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, a lot.
Who would know that we can sustain 4 cycling shops?
Quite a bit, but I'll tell you why, because the bike path system is very good.
Okay.
So there's a North Shore bike path along 176 that goes all the way to the lakefront. Des Plaines River Trail. Lake County really spent a lot of time and I'm going to say thankfully money on developing McDonald Woods and Rollins Savannah, all these places, nice places to take a walk, to take a bike ride. And then there's road riding, also road cycling.
And all over St. Mary's Road.
Don't roll your eyes. That's I'm one
You're
of them.
one of those guys.
I'm one of them.
I just remember
pass kindly.
So many cyclists, but it makes me think. I don't know that whole, but that's a great places to ride though.
Right, and a lot of those they're called pelotons, where they're a big group of riders. A lot of them come up from the city because they want to get out to the country roads more or less. Now, again, I've been here for 24 years. I used to cycle Allman and Casey all the time, and just yesterday I was thinking this. I used to run training for Ironman along Allman and Casey. It was a 7-mile loop, like a T on Casey, up Allman, down Allman on Casey.
Yep.
Little rolling hills, fantastic. I could run there safely. Now, it's the traffic has really gotten a lot. I mean, we're no longer in the country.
No, and those were cool places, like just outside, like. That's nature and everything. You don't have to worry about traffic there.
I had a patient once who, 90-something-year-old man, came to see me, and he was telling me he remembers Libertyville when north of 137, Milwaukee Road was a dirt road.
Really?
And I had a patient, a lady who was one of the first postmasters of Mundelein when there were just 30 mailboxes to deliver to.
How cool are those people to talk to?
I know. Seriously, that's
But
great.
yeah, to remember that. And it shows you, when we were talking about this too, it really wasn't that long ago.
No.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
Really, but a dirt road on 21 north of
137. Yeah, dirt road.
Wow. Isn't that crazy?
So, what else was I going to say?
Yeah, we're talking about. I'm sorry, we're talking about all the cycling out there, and the cycle. So is it like a Libertyville cycling club? Is it like?
So it's called Lifestyle Cycle Club. It's I think officially he doesn't make it a club because there's liabilities and responsibilities if you're officially a club.
Right.
You're riding as friends is what you have to do.
Beautiful.
But yeah, I mean, I just if anything I can say in this whole segment about cycling is just to be careful on the roads, be respectful of cyclists. I mean, they're not in your way intentionally. Of recently, the traffic having picked up a lot, and maybe distracted drivers or whatever. But I, for one, being a cyclist, give a wide berth to anybody. I go around them. I don't have to punch the gas to make the diesel plume go intentionally. It proves nothing. We know you can get around us easily within a split second, and is that split second worth risking somebody's life for? So appreciate the fact that people are out there just trying to exercise and not trying to be jerks.
Yeah. And a note to everybody listening to you: just relax. Nothing's that important. You don't have. You're not in that much of a hurry.
You can get around them.
Respect what people are doing.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe they're just mad because they're not out exercising. That could be part of it too.
And we always chuckle when it's 5:30 in the morning. Like, who is that much in a hurry to get to their job?
You probably don't want to know.
Yeah.
One other note, while we're talking about things too, and about the girls and high school and things like that. Talking about other ways that you support around. Some of the beauty pageants. I had a note here.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that wasn't about you.
No, I'm not in the beauty pageant. But my younger daughter Victoria is very, very creative. She is our last child, and definitely the wild spirit, so to speak. And what she sees, she gets excited by, and somehow through friends or whatever, when she was, I'm guessing, 7th grade at Oak Grove School, heard about the Miss Libertyville pageant. I think that's around 4th of July time.
Yeah.
And sure enough, she committed to trying out, and it's pretty rigorous to try out for these little...
Pageant world is a big deal.
Apparently.
I didn't have any idea until I found out more, but even for that age, it's crazy.
And this is my soccer daughter, so I'm not sure how she got into the pageant idea.
Right.
And so, she tried out for it and won. At that point, you have the high schoolers are Miss Libertyville. Then there's a junior Miss Libertyville and a little Miss Libertyville. I think there's 3 levels of it. But the funniest part of it... Oh, here's another side note on her. She's also a wrestler at Oak Grove. She was one of the only girl wrestlers on the wrestling team, Wrestling Boys.
Awesome.
And I would say, Victoria, why do you want to do wrestling? Yeah. I go, if it's for the boys, I mean, you can just hold a clipboard and take notes or, whatever. You don't have to tackle them. But she did great as a wrestler. So when she was going up at the Libertyville Miss Pageant at 4th of July weekend, whatever, to give her little talk of why she wants to be Miss Libertyville, her whole wrestling team came out to support her.
How cool is
that?
The
boys were out there, yeah.
That's awesome. Says a lot about her.
Yeah. So one of the funniest questions was, they asked, what do you want to do when you grow up? And she said, well, I want to go to Bora Bora and be a marine biologist. And like my wife and I looked at each other and said, where did that come from? Right. It's Bora Bora?
And you've never heard anything about this before. It's
no, and the whole marine biologist from watching Octonauts enough, I guess, or something.
That's funny.
So that's the Libertyville Miss Pageant. And then since that time, we've also, helped sponsor those kind of events. That's cool. A friend of mine from the cycling community asked if I would pitch in and help out. He's part of Libertyville Cycle Days. There's something called Libertyville Cycle.
Okay.
And it's sponsored by the Park District somehow. And to promote safe cycling and safe bike paths. So last year we supplied water bottles to the event, logo branded water bottles or whatever. But so those kind of events go around. But it's nice to support that.
Yeah, and it's nice because anybody out here listening that runs any kind of event or club and everything, it's like that kind of help that makes everything go around because you can't do it without it.
Sure.
That's for sure. All right, we're going to, yes, go ahead.
And also, I mean, part of... We as a practice, we have a med spa downtown Libertyville on Milwaukee Avenue. It's called Med Spa on Main. But as such, we're also part of the very vibrant Libertyville Main Street community. You know that
absolutely
club. You want to be in that club.
Main Street Libertyville. Without that, I mean, that's a huge thing. And what a great organization.
Very supportive.
Gosh.
Very supportive.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. We're going to talk more about the med spa too. I know you haven't listened to a whole lot of things I've done, which is great because right now we're going to pause for a second. We're going to do something we call the hot seat. So I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions, and you're going to learn just a little bit more about you.
I know about your hot seat.
Okay, good. Hopefully, and I'm pretty sure that these are way different than maybe something you'll listen to, which is good. So some are fun and silly, and some are a little bit more. We'll see how you do on the fly. I'm sure you're going to do good. How does someone impress you?
Ooh, great question.
This is my new favorite one.
Sure. Confidence, efficiency, getting the job done. Yeah.
Interesting. Tell me a place you'd like to travel that you have not been.
So I actually think I heard this on your previous podcast, a similar question. Yeah. But my answer, and it just came up 2 weeks ago. I was in Orlando, Florida, and just went out for a walk, and it was a beautiful community. And the folks I was walking with, I said, one thing I enjoy is living in the moment. Mm-hmm. Every place I go to is beautiful. Every place you can find something nice. Every place I go to, I'm like, I could live here. And then you realize there's nothing better than home too. And no matter, and likewise, you stay there for 3-4 years. Suddenly that becomes home. And now you're seeing the traffic, the congestion, whatever. You're not just seeing the pretty sights. So I just really enjoy the moment of where I'm at and
it's a great answer.
Taking it in.
It's a great answer. Sometimes I think that going on vacation for a while is good just because it makes you appreciate home.
Yeah.
As well at the same time.
Exactly. Exactly. At the same time, you're right.
You're going to enjoy that. But then wait, I'm pretty happy just sitting at home. Tell me something that's on your bucket list right now that you'd like to accomplish.
Well, I have a couple of active endurance type plans for the summer.
Okay.
One involves cycling up a epic bike route in Arizona called Mount Lemmon.
Okay.
That's a 30-mile bike ride at a 5% grade. I don't know why. It's a torture fest, but it's and then my wife has plans for a hike of rim-to-rim Grand Canyon this summer, too. So with the family, with the kids. So
how awesome.
That's going to be awesome, too.
Oh, my gosh. Both really cool.
Yeah.
I think I'll take the Grand Canyon one over punishing myself.
I don't know.
It's an accomplishment, though, right?
I think with the punishment comes the joy after it's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
I think it's great. At this point of your life, if your life was a story so far, what would it be titled?
Wow.
Mine would be shit show, just so you know.
Oh, you can say that on the show?
No, I don't think so. I'm just.
You cut it out?
We can say whatever we want.
You edit it?
No.
You can swear?
Can say whatever we want.
You can swear like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a cuss word.
It's a cuss word.
Yeah. The ups and downs of Aras Tijunelis. It's just, yeah.
All right.
Interesting side note.
Yeah.
I never drank till I was 21 at a drop. Just a personal commitment.
Really?
Despite being a varsity football player and all this other stuff. And never smoked. Lived my life as clean as I could.
I feel like this is going to totally change after 21.
And it's a shit show now. And I wish I lived like Mick Jagger.
Well, now you'll be able to live longer because you didn't punish yourself up until 21.
I don't know. Thank God for medicine.
Right.
It didn't pay off.
Right. That's funny. But that's really interesting. You didn't have a drop of anything until 21.
No, it's just sort of a self-commitment.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Especially when we were talking about, like, that you probably got to see your friends party and have fun, but you were dedicated to school and getting your career.
True. I was always very want to be responsible. Like if there was a fire in the house of the party, I would get people out. I'd be the one.
You still seem like that guy.
Well,
you just have to put your drink down. Now
I have to put my drink down and take my heart pills.
Awesome. If you could win an Olympic gold medal for anything, what would you want it to be in? I'm imagining cycling, right?
Oh, my God. That sounds like so much torture. I don't know. Badminton. No, but I've seen badminton. That's rough, too.
It is. And nobody knows about badminton.
Anything at the Olympic level is too much. We talked about that.
Exactly. All right. Last thing you searched on Google.
Ooh. Do you want me to check my phone?
No, I'm not. No, because I saw you clearing your search history before you came in.
Dad jokes.
Dad jokes.
Yeah.
All right, you got one?
The one I did this morning, I was cycling indoors, but we do through a virtual community. Since it's so cold outside, a lot of us will cycle indoors. At 5:30 a.m., I was riding my bike indoors, and I posted to chat with my friends on Discord. What does a buffalo say to his son when he leaves?
I don't know.
Bye, son.
All right, next question here. It is a total dad joke. Well, they didn't lie. It wasn't false advertised.
And that was my last Google.
Wow. Okay, I don't know if you have one or not, but if you have a boat, what would you name it? None of these were planned.
We have a canoe in the backyard of our. We have a pond in the backyard. Besides our chickens, we have a pond.
Chickens.
We have chickens. And in the pond, we have this canoe that we just found. It's an aluminum little Grumman canoe that has holes in it. I've tried to seal up with that. What is that black sealant? Flex Seal?
Yeah.
Flex Seal?
Does it work?
No.
Okay. As seen on TV,
so we'll call it SS Minnow.
Okay.
To those that remember what the SS Minnow
exactly.
is.
It's a 3-hour tour. Celebrity crush. That a tough one. I love silence. I love when it gets really quiet.
Yeah, I mean...
We can come back to that one or skip it completely.
I mean, Lonnie Anderson really is just not...
Well, Burt Reynolds would be mad
kidding.
at you.
I know.
We're showing our age.
Or my
really.
Farrah Fawcett poster on the back of my door in my bedroom. No, I don't know.
And anybody our age knows exactly what
I've lost touch with the current ones.
And I don't have any current ones anyway. It's still Farrah Fawcett for me. All right. What kind of music do you listen to?
I'd say mostly country.
Okay.
Contemporary country.
Okay. Do you believe in ghosts?
No.
Okay. I'll tell you a story off air from my past weekend.
Yes and no. I always used to feel like my grandma's watching me. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Like I would do things just because somebody's there and how they would feel. But but as a real ghost, no.
Okay. If you had to have a superpower, what would it be?
The ability to see the future.
Really? You really want to?
If I could change it.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, I guess if you can change it, I would like to see it too.
If I could.
Otherwise, you're just doomed.
Right? Exactly, right? If I could prepare for it, at least.
Right.
At least.
I can have more fun today.
Yeah.
Well, another reason is like live in the moment, right? And have as much fun as you can. If you wrote a book, what would it be about?
If I could, I would love to travel more. I would love to be a travel author.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be cool. Would the 12-year-old version of yourself think you're cool?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good, because 12-year-olds don't think anybody's cool.
Good point.
So, do you have do you have a nickname? Have you had one from school to anybody?
No. So my name being pretty unique, it's always hard to train people how to say my name. Sometimes
like me.
Sometimes I say I could train a monkey to play an organ and grind and clap cymbals before I could have some people name me. I had a high school coach, a football coach, that called me Era for 4 years. Era, like ERA, like I don't know where that came from, but no nicknames.
Okay. Have you ever eaten a roller dog from a gas station?
Oh, and taquitos.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah.
All right. See, I knew we could be friends. This is good. Let's see here. One of my favorite ones. First car.
Like a 80 Toyota Corolla.
Nice.
No, that's probably the first one I got to drive. I probably shared a Chevy Citation with my sisters.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a hot car.
Yeah,
Citations
so.
were.
Four-door.
Oh, yeah.
Four-door.
Yes. Chick magnet.
It had a V6. It had a V6.
That's good. Did you play a sport in high school? You mentioned football.
Football was the primary one. Back then it was just, you had the 3 seasons. That was it. It was not clubs and
It's much different. Much different.
By the way, getting back to your question about the nicknames.
Yes.
Do not ask any of my friends what nickname I should have. You might. They're not sticking yet, but you might get a whole variety.
This is true, and my entire life, like I made up nicknames for everybody, and they always stuck.
Are you that guy?
But nothing. They tried to have something stick, and it would never stick for me.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's just asshole. Maybe that's. But a lot of people call it. First concert.
I wasn't a big concert goer, but so I can even almost name how many concerts I've been to. But if I think back, the first one was what's his name? Weird guy. You can leave your hat on.
Joe Cocker's name.
Joe Cocker.
There you go.
In Detroit.
Really?
It was kind of.
I like
weird.
that you narrow down musicians as weird guy, and I name it.
He's like all shaky up there, and there's a weird voice, and the old man. Not cool.
That's fantastic.
Favorite concerts would be like David Matthews, Zach Brown, that kind of stuff. But where Joe Cocker fell into this, I don't know.
Weird. Yeah, I think when you get a certain age, that friends are going or whatever, you sometimes you're along for the ride, and it just happens like that.
For Joe Cocker?
Yeah.
I was in Detroit, and that was probably the only show that was there.
Right. Detroit. Yeah, Detroit's a whole nother, another thing. Okay, we're going to end with this one because it's super, super important. Fill in the blank. Hey, bartender, can I have a...
All right.
I'm going to see if I'm right, because if I had to guess, I would see if I was right.
I mean, the easiest drink of choice. If I was I'm at a corporate event and somebody's coming around saying, "What do you want as a drink?" I mean, a gin and tonic is the easiest. And I know where you're going to go with this, probably.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I am trying for the last 5-6 years to be a bourbon whiskey drinker.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That's so trendy. My wife even bought me tickets to the Vine here in Grays Lake for the Bourbon Fest. Yeah, money wasted on me. I mean, it's Pappy Van Huysen. I don't know what that is. I don't know. What is that? You know what that is? A Pappy Van Winkle. Have you heard of it?
I don't know what that is.
Pappy Van Winkle bottle. They were giving it away. I found out it's worth $1,300.
Really?
A bottle of bourbon.
Yeah.
So, no, for the last 5 years, I've been really wanting to be that cowboy that goes up to the bar and says, "Bartender, pour me a stiff whiskey. You give me a shot of whiskey."
Nope.
And I will, and I'll just pucker my face up and go, "Why?"
I know.
I mean, I've done all the Manhattans and the old fashions and sugar it up, and why?
Yeah. No, I like something that tastes good, right? You gotta just go with that. Right.
So you're not that either.
No, I can have a glass of bourbon.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it, but it's, yeah. But when it comes down to taste, you got to have
Might be root beer
good.
for me.
Why not?
Yeah.
And plus, with all the exercising you're doing, you probably can't get too much of that anyway.
But on the topic of root beer, there's another classic, Dog and Suds. Oh, my God. I grew up with Dog and Suds in Wheeling, Illinois.
Yeah.
So Buffalo Grove is where I was born, but there was a Dog and Suds in Wheeling. I love it. My dad would take us there and park a car and get our little frosty mug. And when I partly moved to Grays Lake because of a Dog and Suds.
It's funny because I think the atmosphere, I mean, I know the root beer is good, but the atmosphere makes everything taste better, too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
It's just kind of fun. All right, we're going to go back to like what you Libertyville and what you do for a living.
Sure.
We can touch on that. But no, I love those, and thank you for participating, because I think it's cool, because one of the reasons to do the show is I really like people that, are either are already people that come to you or somebody that's considering coming to you. I really think it's nice for people to know who you are, because I think it's good. It works for you. Some people it doesn't work for to know them better. but to have a good conversation always works nice. So let's talk about the med spa. Where is it, and what kind of services do you do there at the med spa?
So just to bring it back, the surgical office with the operating room and whatever is down by the Libertyville soccer fields on Winchester.
Yes.
And I had an esthetician working there. Estheticians do the facials, the peels, lasers. It's sort of the side part. Which one feeds which? You can't have a eyelid surgery or facelift surgery without doing the polishing work that comes with it. Okay. And I tell women that, think of, I put in men terms, you can't buy a new car and not take care of it. So the med spa business is taking care of the surface. Now, you can do a simple thing like a facial microneedling, small microneedling. That's getting a quick car wash. But every now and then you want to get a more detailed car wash, and then we offer those services too. Lasers, obviously simple things, Botox, injectables, fillers, and so on. We have nurses that administer those. So that was originally in the surgical office. But I said, hey, the volume's picking up, and people don't have the drive-by visibility of it being tucked back into a medical complex. So we really have to either push it by promoting it on the Facebooks and the websites, et cetera, which is a whole different story. Or I found a spot downtown Libertyville on the main street by the train tracks by Birdie's. It was I met the owner of the building. It's 703 North Milwaukee by Casa Bonita is there. That corner, that vintage building. Oh my gosh! I'll mention the owner of the building. He's Jim, 90-year-old guy. Mm-hmm. Quite an interesting character, quite dynamic, but he was all for it, and he was helpful, very, very helpful with us setting up.
That's good to hear.
So we're in that location that used to be, before me, was, I think, Flavor It Ice Cream. Do you remember Flavor It? Not ice cream, shaved ice.
Right. Yeah.
And so I had to go in there and personally last year, November, went in there to start gutting it and just tore everything out. And we broke ground in December to start building out and built a little med spa facility right there, I think conveniently located downtown Libertyville for those quick services. And I envisioned that it would be a quick services. Somebody's going to the train station, they can pop in for their little treatment, Botox, whatever it would be.
So you're talking about this past December of 24.
December of 24.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So really new.
Yeah, so we're coming up on a 1-year anniversary in May.
Okay.
Med Spa in May.
Nice. Now, so what is the most popular service there? That's what I always like to know. What?
Sure. It's definitely a combination of things. I can't say it's one thing. Again, it's like asking at a car wash what's the most popular car wash. You're going to have people drive by and do the quick wash, and some people want to do the express or the detail or whatever. So we have a esthetician working there who does the facials, the microneedling, some laser work, and then we have nurse injectors who do Botox and fillers in both rooms. We have 3 rooms there, and they're running continuously while we're open. They're both rooms are working. So
that's great.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the spot's great. It's like conveniently located is the best way to say it, especially right downtown like that.
For a pop-in service where you just kind of come in, get the service done, parking is not bad on that end of town there by the tracks, so you can get parking.
Right.
There's parking behind the facility. To our benefit now, unfortunately to some shop owners, they're talking about building condos there. To some shop owners, that's a downfall. To me, it's increased volume.
Right. No, that's great. So that is nice, but then you're mostly obviously off of Winchester. That's where you spend your days.
Yeah, that's my passion. I'm the surgical guy, right. So I do the body work. So when your car is done with details and so on, my way of looking at it is this: I say that up to 30 years old, women don't need anything. They're beautiful and fresh and so on. 35 to 50, you want to start getting into that maintenance phase, keeping up with things. Sure. As I call it, the express car wash or detail job, you do the surface work. So the facials, the Botox, that gets into the maintenance phase. Beyond that, then gravity starts taking effect. And that's where you start needing some surgical correction, repair, etc., revision. That's where the body work comes in.
Right, and it's fun to watch all like how people are. Some people are really sensitive about talking about it, and some people are like whether they're getting breast augmentations or like all of these things. I'm assuming you do all line of everything, right?
Right.
What about one thing I'll let you. I'm sorry, I totally interrupted you. One thing I read somewhere about like after somebody loses like a lot of weight, like somebody's like 400 pounds and loses a couple hundred pounds, is that something they come to you because they have all this extra skin? Is that how you say it? I guess.
Yeah. That's a huge component. No pun intended. A huge component of my practice right now, with the advent of the weight loss medicines, people are really seeing a lot of success with that, losing anywhere from 20 to 200 pounds. If at a certain age the skin doesn't snap back, there is just no way of correcting that by shrinking it. You need that revised by cutting it in certain ways, and that's become a huge part of my practice. Tummy tuck, circumferential, meaning 360-degree tummy tuck, liposuction of areas that need more sculpting, breast lifts, breast implants with the lifts because they deflate completely with the weight loss. So,
but a good.
I thought I muted it.
Okay, fine. But a good range of things like that.
Yeah, everything from head to toe with that kind of weight loss. When you talk about massive weight loss, it's and it becomes complicated because no two people ever look the same when they melt. The melted, I describe it as a melted candle. It just, all the skin hangs. That's the extreme version, of course, and it gets complicated because where do you start, where do you stop with the work in progress? But then there's, of course, a classic mommy makeover, a tummy tuck and a breast lift or something of that. That's a big portion of my practice as well.
Yeah, and I've read so many things about that, and people go and do it just as self-esteem things to make themselves feel better, that's how they want to live their life, and it makes them happy.
Right. And in doing this podcast, I want to make it clear that I'm not encouraging anybody or saying anybody has to do it or being derogatory to anybody who doesn't have it. And please, I think everyone is beautiful the way they are. Quite frankly, I think that, there is beauty, as I said, with traveling and so on. There is beauty everywhere. And some of the things that make you unique are beautiful.
Absolutely.
If everybody had Jennifer Aniston's nose, it wouldn't be the same, right? So sometimes you marry your spouse because you like them for that feature, whatever that is. It's acceptable to you, and you're willing to accept it. So you change it for your own self-esteem, as you said. It's up to you, and so I don't want to sound like I'm coming off saying people need plastic surgery.
I don't take it that way at all. But you never know how people think. So thank you for mentioning that, because it is a cool thing, especially with I always think about the weight loss or after people go through like major surgeries or scarring or.
Right.
With that being said, tell me about. It doesn't have to be one of your favorite success stories of people that either accident-wise or somebody that you were able to help that makes your job awesome.
Wow. Now that's one of the toughest questions you've asked today, Dave. It really is, because almost every day is different. Every day is unique. Every patient is unique. This past week I've had several patients come in just beaming about how great they feel. And one was telling me how wonderful her sister feels because of work I've done on her sister for breast cancer reconstruction. And she's gone on to live in Seattle, but the doctors there are saying, who did your work? Because, it was great. I never expected that. Because I did my work and moved on, and she moved on, and I never thought about it.
That's great. That's got to make you feel awesome, though.
It does. Listen, I want to, day's over. Close the door. We're closing shop. We're done right now because, other success stories. So there's always a question of, can you meet the patient's expectations? I want them to be happy, most importantly. So getting back to thinking of I've seen some amazingly crazy things in terms of trauma. Half a face getting ground off by a lady who was trapped under a car and getting dragged and had to repair that. And there's just endless stories of what can happen. So when you can restore some element of self to that person, that's a success story in itself right there. I mean, it's not, the beauty is not for others to judge, but for that person to think that they got something back.
Yeah. And probably to restore a confidence level and a thing to get back and live a life where people don't maybe judge them for the way they look or things like that. If you can help repair and
make it better.
Make it better. Exactly. I love that. That's so cool.
So in part of my practice is really founded in a quote I remember learning as a plastic surgery resident from one of the original founders of plastic surgery, historically a guy named Gaspari Tagliacozzi. Famous quote among us plastic surgeons. We love to rely on this, but the quote goes like this: "We restore, rebuild, and make whole those parts which nature hath given, but which fortune hath taken away. Not so much to delight the eye, but that might buoy the spirit and help the mind of the afflicted." So what that means is that we try to restore what misfortune took away. I mean, God gave you something, misfortune took it away, or you didn't have it, or made it worse. And we try to restore it. And again, the quote is not so much to delight the eye, but to buoy the spirit and help the mind of the afflicted. Yeah. So that it just, it's not about others, but it's about that person.
That's awesome. And a great quote as we're wrapping up, too, that I think that explains, a lot of the things that you've been talking about, and which is cool from that point of view. So what else do we need to know? What else do our listeners need to know about you, about services that you offer, that we feel we have the opportunity to tell them right now?
Well, definitely it's been a pleasure being part of the Libertyville community for 24 years now. It is absolutely fun, and having established myself in the community, like those people before me had said, hey, there's this little town, Libertyville, why don't you go set up over there? You'll do well, you'll be okay. And sure enough, it is absolutely flattering and a delight to walk down the street and know people, and people know me. I have a few stories of we can put this in however you want to. But
I'd love it.
I love being of service to the community as well for things of need at times. A year ago, maybe 2 years ago, Libertyville girls soccer team was down at a tournament, and two of the soccer players collided heads and split their heads wide open.
Yeah.
Big gashes on the foreheads, and I got a urgent call from one of the Libertyville moms that said, hey, can you take them in tonight at my office? So we did. We repaired them, and much to my joy, they went to play the tournament the next day. They had to go follow up and win the state title or whatever, but there's pictures of them with blood running down their face, and then pictures of them playing the next day. But the idea that, to be known in town that you're available and able to help out, I like to do that. Of course, that's the goodwill, the nature of the part of the community that I enjoy. But of course, there's a business component of it, and so my practice is based now on cosmetic surgery. I do mostly breast and body surgery. That's the vast majority of my surgeries. 25 years of experience has taught me a lot. I definitely feel very comfortable in taking on all sorts of situations and cases. So.
That's really cool. And it's good to know in community that they have some, like a go-to guy, somebody that you trust. And even doing this podcast together, like, you're a normal guy, you're funny, like, you have these great things, but you have an extraordinary thing that you do to help people. So I think it's nice for the community to have I always say, we got a guy. But to know you and to trust you and go in, that you're great to have in the community.
Sure.
Love it.
Thank you.
Very cool. I also love when you started talking about, I think about how people fit into community, right? Because you're the doctor.
Yeah.
You're the soccer dad. You're the cyclist, the buddy we ride, So it's cool to have all of these different connections, of things you do. And yeah.
Right.
The guy that I'm not running with or riding a bike with or anything to make me look bad.
But yeah.
But it is cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very cool to have grown up with the community. Definitely. Prior to me, there were two surgeons, plastic surgeons around. There were more probably in Lake Forest. But yeah, I felt like I really established myself in Libertyville and feel good.
Well, I wish you the best of luck and go in and keep helping out. And I love your attitude. And your enthusiasm is contagious. I would say that.
Wonderful.
So,
thank you.
I appreciate you, Doc, being in.
Thank you.
Libertyville, thank you so much for listening. And wherever you guys are listening, do me a favor, whether you're on Apple, whether you're on Spotify, wherever the heck you're listening on YouTube, do me a favor and subscribe, because that way weekly you'll get an alert of a new guest from our town that you get to learn about. And I always say, listen to the people you don't know, because without being here, I feel like I'm continuing education every day. They get to meet awesome people, and you get to learn a lot. And I believe that builds community, so I think it's cool. And I always end, sorry I'm so long-winded, you never know what your friends or family are going through. So get out there today and do 1-2 random acts of kindness, whether it's being nice to the cashier at the dollar store or whatever you're doing, or hold the door for somebody. Even a smile can change people's days. So be a good human. Kindness is contagious. So appreciate you, Libertyville. Doc, thank you so much for being on again.
Cheers.
All
Thanks.
right. Thank you.